Oh boy, here we go.
Get my megaphone.
Action.
This is the welcome to the director's course. This is a fun one.
We're going to teach you how to be Steven Spielberg. Maybe not. This is probably, bar none, when someone comes to you and says, I want to make movies. What they mean is they want to direct movies. And I remember the first guy, I saw the film when I was just a wee lad.
Which was so long ago.
I saw the film Raiders of the Lost Ark. I saw this film 13 times in the theater. I still love this movie, and it's still a great movie. It still holds up. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. And I remember sitting in the theater and thinking to myself, and I'd always wanted to make movies since I was about 7 years old. And it came out in what, 81?
I always wanted to make movies since I was 5 years old.
Well, did I say 7? I meant 4.
3. So he wanted to be a director when he was
No, I didn't
9.
actually. I knew when I was 7 I wanted to make movies. I didn't know what that meant. I had no idea. And I went to, I think Raiders came out in 81, if I'm not mistaken. They had to drag me to this movie, my dad did, because I did not want to see a movie about Noah and the Ark. Oh. And I sat there and,
I'm not sure what trailer you watched.
There wasn't a trailer.
Yeah.
They just, here's the newspaper. We're going to go see that. Okay. And they dragged me to it. And I remember watching, okay, whatever. I'm watching it. And man, when he's running away with the idol in his hand and the darts are flying and the boulders coming.
Rolling down.
I was in. I was 100% like, this is it. And I was captivated. I was absolutely mesmerized. And I knew from that moment on, this is the kind of movie I wanted to be a part of. Now, I had no idea what that meant either. I just wanted to be a part of that kind of movie making. Fast forward years from that, I would finally get a lunch with a guy who's actually on our website, Scott Swafford. And he was a young man at the time, a producer, great producer. And he took me to lunch. I remember this like it was yesterday. And he said to me at lunch, well, what do you want to do? I said, I don't know. He says, well, do you want to be in front of the camera or behind it? I didn't even know what that meant. Like, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. And he goes, do you want to act? I said, oh, no. I don't want to act. I want to direct. And he was like, oh, not another one.
Not another director.
Okay, so from that moment on, I knew, like, okay, this was going to be a hard road. And it is. Don't let anybody kid you. Directing is maybe the longest journey there is in the film industry. Maybe acting. Acting's tough too. Like there's so many actors and they're all so good that the competition's really high. But there's more roles for actors, right? For every movie has how many actors in it.
Right. The director only has one.
There's only one, Maybe you co-direct if you're the Coen brothers or somebody like that, or us. So when you're directing, the competition is just as stiff. The talent, everybody out there is so talented, but there's only one shot for each movie.
Right.
So this is a tough art form, right? I think it was Kurosawa who said, while he was accepting his Lifetime Achievement Award, that if you took our film history class, you know who he is. So Kurosawa he's accepting his award, right? And he's been doing this for 80 years, something like that at the time. He'd been making movies, making some of the most iconic films ever. And he looked out across the audience, and he only spoke Japanese, so it was translated. But he said,
would you like me to do it in Japanese?
No, thanks.
Okay.
That's good. Actually, that might be good.
Give it a shot. We'll save that for the next time.
All right, so, and he says to the audience, I think I'm starting to get the hang of this. Like he's been doing this for 80 years, and he's starting to get the hang of this. And the audience laughed. He didn't laugh. He was serious.
Yeah.
Audience laughed, but he was serious. And that's how difficult. There's another saying in Hollywood that I've always liked because it just makes a lot of sense to me. Is we're talking about filmmaking now, the craft of filmmaking, and that is that this isn't rocket science. This is way harder, right? So this is tough because there isn't a science to it. 1 and 1 don't always equal 2, right? You can make the same film twice. We've seen this. We all saw Psycho, right? Well, maybe you haven't. Okay, so Psycho, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Brilliant movie. Did you see the remake? Not so good. Okay? Just because you're making the same movie, the same story, the same everything, that remake of Psycho was shot for shot. And it was no good. What made it work? What made the first one work? That's kind of what directing is all about, right there. That's directing summed up as simply and as dully as I can put it, without taking years of my life and yours.
Well, and I think what you're going to find in this curriculum is that being a director is actually more complex than you thought it was. And it's going to take a lot more preparation, a lot more work, because you're the person on set that everyone should be coming to get all the answers, to make sure that the vision is cohesive. You, as the director, are that vision. And so everything that's in the curriculum that you're going to be studying about the director, don't push any of it off. I mean, you have to do all of these things.
You got to do your homework.
Because, yeah, that's it.
You've got to do your homework.
You've got to do your homework so that when you're in your pre-production meetings and the wardrobe person asks you about, well, what kind of material do you want the shirt to be? Well, you need to know that my character is a bit more of a soft person, so I want her
A fuzzy turtleneck
to be
on Chet.
No, I want her to be in corduroy, right? Because that's what I want her character to be, right? Or she's not so soft, and we need to have her in a suit, right? We need her hair pulled back. All of those little answers, those little things are what's going to make your film amazing.
There's a million and one decisions every day.
And if you haven't done that homework, you're not going to have those answers. You're not even going to give that feedback. You're not going to put that on the screen.
It's interesting because one of the interviews we did was with Aldrich Porter, who for many years and many films was Ron Howard's first assistant director. And so Aldrich, I asked Aldrich in this interview, and you'll see it in the course, what made Ron so good? Like, you can say whatever you want about a Ron Howard movie, right? What you can't say is that they don't work.
Oh, they work.
They all work. Like, he's supremely talented, right? I don't care. And he's a super nice guy, so I've never heard a bad story about him ever. But the point is that what Aldrich said was, I could teach anybody how to make movies like Ron Howard. That's what he says in the interview. That's what he says in the interview.
Guess I should watch the interview.
That's right. So, but what the advice was, which I thought was brilliant, which is exactly what you're saying, was he does his homework.
Yeah.
He always comes to the set fully prepared. There's no guesswork. He's ready to go.
And that doesn't mean that he has to do everything that he planned on.
No, you can still be organic.
He's ready, so if things shift, he knows the answers already, and he can shift easily with what's happening on set.
It helps when you've been on a movie set since you were like 4.
Yeah, that does help.
All right, so this is the director course. Welcome to the course. And as you go through this course, by the way, you and maybe whoever you might be directing this film with, you're the directors. You're part of a team. You might have a producer. In fact, you will have a producer who's taking the producer course right now. He or she is learning how to be a producer. You guys are learning how to be directors, and on down the list through the rest of the curriculum. You're working together on the same project, but in different courses, right?
And cut.